This week brought us another reminder of how immigration courts aren't really the same as other kinds of courts. Now, I've talked about this subject before. An immigration court looks like a court. It has a judge, it has a prosecutor, it has a defendant, in this case a respondent, and sometimes in immigration court it even has a lawyer, has somebody, a stenographer, taking down everything that's going on. But immigration courts are not independent. They are part of the Department of Justice. They fall under the executive branch. And because of that, the immigration judges don't have the independence that, say, other state or federal judges do, not only in the decisions that they make, but even in controlling their own workload. Now, we got a pretty powerful reminder of that this week because the Department of Justice issued new performance quotas for immigration judges. And under these new quotas, immigration judges are going to be expected to make final decisions in 700 cases a year per judge. If you work that out, that's about 3 for every single working day. And maybe that doesn't sound like a lot, but these cases may involve testimony, they may involve documents, they may involve people without attorneys who don't really know how the court system functions, and they have important ramifications for people's lives. They may involve people being deported. They may involve people being sent back to areas where they may be harmed or killed. They may involve children. And all of this is now going to be done even on more of an assembly line process than it currently is. Now, part of the effect of these new performance quotas is that immigration judges are going to be less likely to take more time with cases even when cases need them, or to allow people more time to present their case or get evidence for their case even when it's necessary, or in something we're already seeing, to delay an immigration case where somebody has an application pending with USCIS and hasn't gotten a decision on it yet. Some tangible examples of this will be for cases involving crime victims, people who have applied for U visas. Those visas are not decided by the immigration court. They're decided by USCIS, and they take a long time for decision. Up until now, normally, an immigration court has been willing to wait on a case because if somebody's eligible for a visa that's going to allow them to stay here, there's no point in going forward with a removal case. But we're already starting to see that stop. We're seeing judges that are going forward with removal cases against crime victims who have cooperated with the police just because another part of the government is taking a long time to adjudicate or visas aren't available. This is also going to express itself in terms of abandoned children, juveniles who are applying for what's called special immigrant juvenile status. Those decisions are made outside of the immigration court, but the immigration courts are going to be less likely to wait for those decisions to be made and more likely to go forward and order these children removed to countries where there's nobody to care for them and they'll be subject to abuse, neglect, and potentially gang recruitment. Now, it might be worth considering these kinds of performance quotas for immigration judges if doing it would preserve fairness in the system and cut through the immigration court backlog. But the problem is it's not going to do either. If you do the math, you'll see that because there are only right now 330 immigration judges for the entire United States. And the backlog of cases, talking about the backlog of cases, cases waiting to be decided, is approaching 700,000. So even if every immigration judge did everything that was now required by these performance metrics, they would cut through that backlog in about 3 years. And that doesn't count the thousands and thousands and thousands of cases that are being filed now as the Trump administration ramps up immigration enforcement. It's not a workable fix. I don't know about you. I was always taught that if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. And that's exactly what's going on here. But you don't really have to take my word for it. You know who the biggest opponent is of these new performance issues. It's the immigration judges themselves. Now, they can't speak about it individually or in their capacity as immigration judges, but they can speak about this issue through their union. Sidelight, I'll bet you didn't know, immigration judges are unionized. They have their own union, the National Association of Immigration Judges, and that union is wholeheartedly opposed, not just to these particular plans, but to the way that immigration courts are structured in general. They're not happy, the judges themselves, with the fact that they fall under the executive branch, that their decisions are not independent, but can be controlled by their superiors at the Department of Justice. The president of the Immigration Judges Union, Judge Ashley Tabador, raised these concerns recently. She said that judges are going to be under pressure now to make decisions in immigration court, not because those decisions are legally correct, but because they're going to be concerned about actually keeping their jobs. She's concerned also that even if judges don't do that, everybody's going to assume that they did, because everybody's going to know the pressure they're under to make decisions. She said that this performance metric compromises the integrity of the immigration court, that is creating a built-in appeal with every case, that it's going to make the backlog even worse, and that there's an inherent conflict of interest in having the immigration courts situated inside a law enforcement agency, which is exactly the way it is now under the Department of Justice. The National Association of Immigration Judges itself, in February, before this was even announced, called publicly for a complete structural overhaul of the immigration court system, a system that a former president of the NAIJ has termed a, quote, alternate legal universe. And I can tell you that as somebody who practices in the immigration court, who defends people all the time in immigration court, that is probably the best way to put it that I've ever seen. Because in a normal American legal universe, you would expect to have some basic things like fairness, justice, people with attorneys, the ability to defend yourself against charges, the time to prepare your case, and the time for a judge to give your case all the time it requires to make sure that the right decision is made. But the way things are trending right now in immigration court, that's not going to happen. The entire system needs to be changed. I think everyone can agree we need a real functional immigration court system. Nobody disputes that. But that's not what we have. And these new rules are just going to take a bad situation and they're going to make it worse. At times like these, it has never been more important for people facing removal in immigration court to have attorneys to represent them. If you have a case in immigration court and you want to know if we can help you, please feel free to contact us at area code 423-402-0608 or online at www.leicesterlaw.org. If you want to stay up to date on what's changing in the American immigration system, please follow us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hopefully you're doing one of those two things right now. And if you have friends that you think would benefit from this information, please share these videos with them so they can be seeing it too. So, until next time, stay safe, stay strong. We'll see you soon.